Welcome to Surrender School.
All right, the mission statement for Surrender School. At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12-step and other supportive recovery solutions to those who want a healthy relationship with food. Obviously, we welcome people from other 12 steps as well, although our perspective is about food. All right, there we go. We are not an official 12-step meeting, but we do adhere to the spirit of the traditions. So you will notice those as we go through this. All right. Here's everything that we have currently at Surrender School. We are in Supercharge Your Recovery. That's the thing we're in right now. It's Sundays at 10:30 Pacific. Related to that, we have office hours for the Enneagram Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific, and also Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Beginning in June, is that true? No, probably beginning in July. Michael Naylor has one more instincts things in the first Friday Enneagram exchange. He has one more instinct thing where he talks about how do you move those so that they're in balance, because the more balanced we are, the better we are. And he finished social, the last one, on last Friday. We also have a book study, The Alchemy of Enneagram for Transforming Addiction, with Michael Naylor. He wasn't able to make the last one, so Type 6 will be coming up in June, toward the end of June, I think it is. So anyway. Yes, because May is, no, maybe toward the end of May. I'm sorry. Toward the end of May, he will do that. And then the reading room, and the difference between a book study and a reading room. The book study, you read it on your own, and then it's discussed during the session. The reading room, we literally read it together. We sit down page by page and read it together, and share on that. So on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, we have Drop the Rock. Tuesdays at 1:30 Pacific time, we have the AA 12 and 12. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 8 to 9 in the morning Pacific time, we have Alan Berger's 12 Insights for Emotional Sobriety. So we have quite a bit going on. And in addition to that, we have two new things going on. Started this past weekend, at Saturday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific, is the 12 Steps in 12-Week Step Study, basically led by Amber, and it started on May 3rd. And then also a 30-day intensive daily recovery workshop, which is called Back from Relapse, led by Linda T., May 1st through 31st. And the first, second, and third, is today the third? Today's the fourth. The first, second, and third, 1, 2, and 3, May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd, is already out there for you to watch if you missed it. So it's easy for you to catch up, and it's in process. You can come anytime, but there's questions that are out on the WhatsApp. Kim, thank you. Kim and someone else posted the questions. Lori, I think. Thank you for doing that. So the questions are out there, and also you have the opportunity to watch that if you're able to miss it. I don't know if Samantha, and thank you, Samantha. I don't think you're here today, but thank you so much for doing that so quickly, so that people can get caught up on that, because I think that's going to be amazing. This is very specifically for food addiction stuff, although you can translate it almost to anything else. I'm a mess with my food right now, so I'm very excited about this. So thank you, Linda, for doing that. All right. And then we also have the first Friday Enneagram exchange. That will actually start. The actual Enneagram exchange thing that we're doing is like a podcast, except with Q&A. So you can ask questions of Michael Naylor, which is awesome. And then he and I will interview other people, interview each other, that kind of stuff, kind of a podcast feel. And that'll start in July. Okay. Here's everything that we have to offer. Consider taking, experiencing, working, attending, taking the past workshops or book studies. They're recorded and sit out on surrenderschool.org. Experience the meditations by step. If you're working with someone on that, you may want to begin each of your sessions with a meditation for whatever step that you're on. They're about 5 minutes long, and they have nice music and that kind of stuff. So they're very nice. A lot of work went into those. So you might take a look at them. Consider working through a step study alone or with a sponsor. We have lots of options for step studies out there. We do one a year, and this is our 3rd year of doing them. And then also attending an in-person retreat in 2026 in Las Vegas, where many of us are from Las Vegas. So save your money up now. And if you'd like to participate in the planning of it, just let Joy know when she gets back from vacation. All right. All this can be found on surrenderschool.org. Consider being a volunteer. Just reach out to Lori if there's anything that you see that people are doing that you'd like to volunteer for. organizations like ours always need volunteers for all kinds of things. It ends up being the same 4 people who do everything. And eventually they get burned out and then they leave and then we're sad. We don't want that to happen. So consider volunteering and be one of the happy people who's giving your time. Okay. If Surrender School has helped you please consider donating. The donate button is out on the main page. We are a 501(c) organization. None of us take any money for what we do, but there are always expenses, and especially with the retreat, there'll be expenses for sure. So if we've helped you through recovery, that's the cool part about working with 12-step people. They understand we pay our way, so it's kind of cool. All right. Also, there is a WhatsApp group. A lot of information goes out on the WhatsApp group, so please feel free to join that. And also sign up for a daily Ennea thought, which is just basically, oh, you're a type 8, here's something to think about today. And you can get 2 of those. So I have one for me, and then I have one for my husband who's a 5. You might do yours in a wing or something. Anyway, EnneagramInstitute.com is where you would request that. All right. Let's go ahead and feel your breath going in and out of your body and feel your feet on the floor. This practice is just intended for you to be present. Let go of everything that happened earlier and anything that may happen in the future. And just be present for this hour and a half that we have. Together, let's say this is a simplified set-aside prayer. God, help me to set aside everything I think I know to leave space for what I have yet to learn. All right. The goal of this course is a personal journey. Our focus is to help you understand the relationship between your false self and your true self, and to treat yourself as you discover these things with unrelenting compassion because you are human. So some things to keep in mind. I'm not an expert on anything. Work the step by type is what is the subtitle of this. So you need to take the test if you haven't already, because it will guide you to which type you should be paying attention to. We believe that self-contempt stops, or at least stalls out, spiritual growth. So whenever that happens, it's really hard to sense any kind of spiritual growth when you're feeling self-contempt, which, by the way, is where I'm at today. So I'm going to ask you to be especially kind to me because I'm in a self-contemptuous space right now, but I'll still try to be nice to other people, even if I'm not being nice to myself. All right. We believe if you do the work, you will be supercharged. And once again, be kind to one another and also to yourself. All right. Inquiry is another word for questions. So that's the reason we have so many questions that we're asking before we actually have you do the listing in the inventory on step 4. And that's because when you ask questions, you'll look at things slightly differently. And what we're looking for are those patterns, and recognizing patterns as patterns and projections, which are the stories you tell yourself, as the stories that you tell yourself. Because one of the things, those are almost always in our blind spot. We don't see that we have a pattern. Usually the people around us see the pattern, but we don't. And the same thing, we tell ourselves a story about our childhood. We tell ourselves a story about who we are. We tell ourselves, and usually that is our ego structure defending us. Okay, so what we want to do is recognize those patterns as patterns, the projections as projections, because what happens is that is what allows, in step 6 and 7, our greater power, higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, that is what allows that to dissipate, that ego structure, so that we have the pause that makes us not act in ways we don't want to act, and eventually not react even internally to things that we used to react to. All right. So after the breakout room, hang around. I would like you to, because we're going to do basically kind observer volunteers, and there's quite a few that have done that, and all of you are interested in this. We're going to do a Q&A on that for any lingering questions. We're still working this out because Lori has volunteered, which is amazing to me, to set up the breakout rooms for all the different pairs. So that's like, could be up to 50 breakout rooms, or 30 or 40 or whatever. I mean, huge number of breakout rooms. So she's got a lot of work that she's going to do for that. And so I want to be sure that everybody understands what we're going to do to make it as easy on Lori as we can make it, and also to make it as almost effortless for you to be able to share what you need to share. So anyway, hang out afterward and we'll kind of talk about it. I do need to say I'm an 8, so usually I'll listen to people's opinions, but I don't take other people's opinions. So don't be hurt if I go, oh, thank you for that, and then don't do it, because that's usually the way it works. Just letting you know. All right. So once again, this is the nature thing that we did at the bottom of your little fill-in sheet that you had. But what we are going to talk about right now is I would love to hear, and I'll go off this here in a minute, the difference when you're working on your step 4 and also going into step 5, when instead of everything being what you're looking at is what is taking up space in my mind right now. This is the only way that we can actually get through what we need to get through as quickly as we are. But we do think that there is a real benefit to basically dealing with what is taking up space in your mind right now versus dealing with everything that's ever happened in your life and all the people that done you wrong in the past and all that. That is not what this is about. And I keep saying that, but I want your opinion on, is this seeming different to you doing it this way? Maybe you've always done it this way. It's entirely possible. You may want to share that, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to open this up for sharing. Just a second, I need to go to gallery. There we go. Lee, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lee in London. Yeah, that really resonated with me, Cher, what you just said around what's taking up space in our head rent-free, because I've realized this time round, I first did my step 4 3 years ago, and I've done like little updates, revisited it since on particular issues. But I certainly haven't done it like this. And it's really opened my eyes that there are a couple of things on the list that are just unresolved from the first time round, like I'm still resentful or haven't gone deep enough, needed to see it from a different angle. And then there's new shit that's come up in recovery, sometimes about the fellowship or, you know, like stuff that goes on in fellowship and that hasn't been, that either is like really recurring in my step 10s, like every week or so, the same shit's coming up. So that's gone in. So it really has been for me that what's taking up space in my head went free. And the amazing thing is that it's really, oh my God, like step 4 worked the first time because most of it has just gone like, my dad's not on that page anymore. So that's amazing. Like I've done that work and it's been lifted, but it's just really helping me hone in on what is the next right action. This is the stuff that I need to get to. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. And what's really cool here is so often we cannot see the patterns. So, right, they keep recurring and it could be like 3 things and we don't see that they're in any way related, but someone who's listening to us can hear similar words. That's what step 5 is about, for them to see the patterns and then be able to say in step 6, okay, this word in some form came up in all 3 of these. That's probably the defense that you want to look at. And we don't even know that. That's what's astounding to me. It's like, really? Right? Because it's in our blind spot and we all have them. Thank you, Lee, for that. Jennifer, to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I used the metaphor in a previous class that it reminds me of the distinction between the old behavioral therapy model versus CBT or, DBT, evidence-based, those sorts of things. Because, the old therapy model, which was, I think, probably historically kind of coming to the fore and starting to be accepted in the 30s and 40s, was definitely about start in the past and dredge it all up. And, not at all knocking anyone for whom that has been helpful, but I know that for myself, I spent 2 decades going over the same material and things on the surface so improved, and the core issue was always there. And I get it. It always will. I hope you will repeat the immortal quote that you said that Michael Naylor said last week. So I say all of this just in general, not, with any definitive expertise, but for myself, I have gotten so much more benefit in the last 7, 8 years from therapies that were more somatic based and more about what's going on right now, because it points me back to what I need to be looking at in the past that I haven't let go of, as opposed to, as you said, doing the stories. And I think it's valuable to have done that old step 4 and gone back, like instance by instance by instance, and then get to do it this way. I think there are things that you might miss if you only do it this way, but
Yes.
maybe not. But yeah, I love the pointing back. It points back to what's unhealed. The other things we don't have to dwell on and make ourselves feel like crap about, because they've been healed somehow in our psyche. And I think our psyche does a beautiful job of that in and of itself. So it has made a huge world of difference. I have seen things this go round that even with therapy and other things, I had not gotten. And I'm really grateful for it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, and I think so much of it too is because the focus is compassion instead of beating ourselves up to feel compassion for ourselves and for other people and all of that. I do think that has something to do with it too. And yeah, and I'm so curious, people that are new to program doing this, if I when I taught last year and even earlier this year, I'm like, you go through the 12 steps and it, basically takes you by the balls. It beats you up, right? Do they need that? I don't know. I needed it. I'm an 8. I needed that. Absolutely. I needed it to knock me down before I'd even come to program, right? Does everybody need that? I don't know. I mean, I'm learning all the time. Thank you, Jennifer. Becca, to you.
Yeah, I think it's finally this last exercise finally helped me start to realize why it's good to be focusing on a very small area. Because I've said this before, I spent 2 years on my last 4th step, and my sponsor got so tired of it, she ended up dropping me. And it's being a perfectionist, being a type 4 who always sees where I'm lacking. I think I have to get the whole list out and get rid of all of it and do it perfectly. And this week, for some reason, I feel like I'm getting down to the core wound that actually fueled so many of those other things. And getting to the core wound and starting to pull it apart. And again, being a 4, it brings up a lot of shame. But to me, it's almost been a diversion to do the big, long, never-ending list. And what this is doing is it's kind of getting me to hone in and focus on the core wound, which has contributed to so much suffering. So, thank you.
Thank you, Becca. And I think that's exactly what happens is that becomes almost an animal unto itself. Right? And it's like, I don't want to do that. I really want to be able to heal, or at least ask my greater power to heal the parts of me. What I think will happen in step 5, I don't know it, but I think what will happen is we will see it's all the same shit, right? Same shit, different day. It's all the same. It's 3 things that I believe. That's the reason I talk about standing in the rubble of former beliefs, because it's like, oh, I never thought about this since I was 13, and it's been running my life since I was 13. What, right? And I think that is what's going to happen. I'm guessing that, but I'm thinking that that's going to happen. I'm actually hoping that's going to happen, but I'll just say thinking today. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Becca, for that. Teresa, to you.
Yeah, that's what's happening to me. Like, I'm so obsessed. I'm thinking about all these things that are popping up in my head that I didn't think about for years. When I was younger, what I went through, my family, my mother, my father, why I'm the way I am, but because I'm a 2, now I know that. But all those things like that I really didn't think of, and trying to let them go because I don't want to stay stuck in that anymore. And like you say, the same story, poor me. I had 6 miscarriages. This happened. I mean, the list can go on and on. Everybody had stuff happen, I'm sure. But I don't want that to be my identity anymore. Like, I want a new identity, and I don't know how to do that. I'm like stuck between identities, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I guess I'm in the middle of that, like my past and the future, but I need to stay in the present, because then if I don't, I just get like all over the place. I want to go on a trip. and I'm like so scared of doing it, like things like that, procrastination. But anyway, so yeah, that's just what that question brought up in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And I want to say, our goal for step 4 is different here. And when you have a different goal, you're asking different questions, you're doing different things. The goal is to basically uncover or discover 1 or 2 or 3 defenses. That is our only goal for steps 4 and 5. We are not trying to get all of our shit onto paper. And historically, I've worked with people and had sponsors who that's what they wanted. Everything that every piece of shit in your life goes on this paper. No, that is not what we're doing here. It's a completely different perspective because it says all I'm trying to do is figure out what is my major defense in everything that I do. And Dave and Pat and Katja, right? All the 8s that are here, it is so much not wanting to be controlled in subtle, obvious and subtle ways. And that is cropping up for me, Richard. Oh, you're a 1. But right. So for the 8s that are here, it is, I don't know if it's true for you, but for me, it is this absolute need to never, ever, ever be controlled. And sometimes I have to handle it kind of in a manipulative way. So it doesn't seem like I don't want to be controlled, which is where I'm at right now, by the way. So Teresa, to what you're saying, if you think of our goal for 4 and 5 is only to come up with 1, 2, or 3 defenses, that's it. Because you're going to come back to this again and again as it crops up in your head. And that's how we're going to deal with it, right? Is those little bits of things, because that's how we change. Nobody, I mean, how many of you have ever tried to change every single thing in your life all at once? Well, maybe you can do that. I can't do that. I want to change everything so I will be thin. Well, it doesn't work that way. At least it doesn't work that way for me. So anyway, so thank you, Teresa, for that.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one thing and I'm going to get off, but you just made me realize, like, if I really look underneath everything, it's just the 2, wanting to be loved and not to be alone, wanting love. So that's really what my fear is,
There
what
you
it boils
go.
down to.
It does. And I do think so much of this ties back to that basic fear. Absolutely does. Which one of the reasons I think that's what gives the Enneagram such power. It hits the nail on the head perfectly, right? For our type, if we basically have the right type. And then all the incantations happen as a result of that. But thank you, Teresa. All right. Ty, to you.
All right. He was gonna call me as soon as I started seasoning my pork. So I just wanted to say, for me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I want to speak to your question. Honestly, that was I was speaking to because I am new to recovery. So the original way, which is the way that I learned because I came in through the SA room, and even the room was very like rigid and very 12-step-ish. I'm sure what has been for a long time. It's what I've seen, it's what I've known about the rooms. Even before I came in the rooms, I knew about the rooms. And that was some of the hesitation. Like, I don't want to come in there and have to be all like, I mean, I'm rigid enough myself. Like, I need somebody to help me get out of this rigidity. Like, I need to figure out how to stop this cycle going. Like, I got it. And it started me going, and I love it. Like, I love the original rooms, but I will say I prefer this way. Because one, you know your type, or you're learning your type is what we're doing. We're learning our type. We're learning about our defenses. We're learning about everything, our patterns. In this way, much like I think Becca said, like it gets to the point, the core, like, okay, I keep messing up, but I don't know what it is. Yes, okay, I get angry. Okay, then what? Duh, I know I explode. I need something more than that. And this is what, for me, the Enneagram has given me, like, but this is why you explode, and this is this, and this. It's like, oh, so now in real time, I can catch it now and be like, oh, don't do that, or you're gonna have to make an amends for that. Or sometimes it's like, well, I'm just gonna be angry, and you know what? I'm not gonna repress my anger. Yeah, but you don't gotta throw it out there like that either. You still have to be wisdom and be kind about what you're doing. So, and this is helping me with that. There it goes. Kindness. This way is teaching me how to be kind to myself. compassionate to myself, graceful to myself, love myself, so that I can really be that loving neighbor to my neighbor. I can really fulfill the top two commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And the second one is like it, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But how can we love ourselves? How can we love our neighbors if we don't love ourselves? A lot of us don't know love ourselves. This is teaching me how to really get into how to love myself so that I can properly love my neighbor. So for me, hands down, I mean, this one is better. This one is better because that one kept me in the condemnation. And honestly, that's where I relapsed twice in step 4 and could not get out of the step 4 loop. This has helped me not only get out of the step 4 loop, but I'm ready for class. Before I was like, oh, I can't even show up. I don't want to show up. Oh no, I'm not perfect. I messed up again. Oh no.
Yep.
Compassion. I love it. I love this one better. That's just me.
Thank you, Ty. Yeah, and I think, so the immortal thing is that ego structure that you have, right? That ego structure, which basically is your false self, that jumps out before you have a chance to stop it. That's the thing that's immortal, right? It is. Our defense, those defenses are immortal, right? And so, and Ty, what you talked about, where you can now say, oh, I don't want to act like that. That's the pause Bill W. talks about, right? Because we used to just, you act however, by type, you act. 8's obvious in your face, right? Others not as obvious, but there's still that whatever that impulse is, and it is immortal. It will always be there. But how blessed that we have that chance to say, no, not this time. I'm not going to act like that. And then the cool part is if we do act like that, guess what we get to do? We get to make amends if we owe it and do better next time. So that whole package of I hate myself because I do this is bullshit for me to say today because right now I hate myself because but I'm working on it. Because and actually it's helping me to say it out loud that it is this all I can do is better next time. It's a complete waste of my time and energy to be mad at myself or to whatever. Do I owe an amends? In this particular case, I don't owe an amends. Maybe to myself. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But I don't owe an amends, right? And so I'm going to remind myself, I never owe amends for feelings. Feelings are feelings. And everybody gets to have them, and you get to have your own feelings, whatever they are, right? So anyway, all right. I'm sorry. I'm working out things in front of 50 people. Oh, what can I say? All right. Thank you. Ty, thank you for saying that. All right, Shirley, to you.
Hi. So I appreciate what you said, Cher, about uncovering 1, 2, or 3 of our defenses, because I feel like the reaction I'm having to working step 4 in this way is relief on the one hand, that I feel like I'm being invited to face and accept whatever is going on with me. And the old way was, beating myself up, trying to, and I just sat there with blank papers, So I feel like this is really teaching me, I'm a 2, and it's teaching me a lot about, my style and the way I approach things, overgiving, overdoing. But I feel like I've been thrown into this place of despair where my ego structure is like, it's become concrete and Teflon. And my mind, and I like your question about what's taking up space. What's taking up space is that my mind always wants to jump to the solution. And I love the fact that you're reminding me that we're just uncovering here. We're not solving. And, that's where I'm at. I'm in so much pain because, like, why can't I solve this? And I feel like I came by my defense structure honestly, as a little kid. And now it's my job, if I don't like it and it's not working for me, to start to unravel it. But it's going to take the rest of my life. And, I just, that's where I'm at, rent free, is the ego structure is Teflon, and I want to solve this by 5 p.m. today.
Thank you, Shirley. And the ego structure, I mean, it really, its job really is to protect us, and it believes that it's doing the righteous job, but it's in my way for recovery, right? But I mean, that's, I think, why it's Teflon, What you're saying, it is, because it's immortal and it wants to, it's done your whole life. It's protected you, right? But it's taken you down paths that isn't where you belong. At least I'm finding that it's taking me down paths where I don't belong. And it's like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I don't want, I don't think the ego is evil. I think the ego is protective. It's like, okay, I just don't need that. I needed it as a child, absolutely needed it as a child. I don't need it now. I'm not going to kill it. I don't want it to go away. I just don't want it to be in charge. I want the best of me to run the rest of me, right? Like Alan Berger says. Yeah. But it is uncomfortable. It absolutely is.
I am so uncomfortable. And
It whispers in your ear, Yeah.
And these ideas of compassion and kindness, it's like a foreign language. I really don't know what's going on here. So anyway, thank you for hearing all
Yes,
that.
yes, and so you're in the right place, because that's how I feel too. So yay, I guess. Thank you. Tamara, to you.
I just had a couple of thoughts. One that came up, I'm also a 2, so one that came up in what slowly but surely said was having to work on this our whole lives. And what struck me was I've had that same like, man. And then I'm like, everybody's working on something their whole lives. It's just what we're choosing we want to work on. So people who aren't in recovery, they're working on stuff too. They're working on, their defenses are going to be working for them, and they're going to be struggling with the consequences of using their defenses. It's the human condition. And for me, that's what I'm seeing. And so it's like, okay, I can choose to work on this, or I can just keep having life work on me and other people work on me because I'm just staying stuck. So I think for me, it's the human condition of coming to terms. And that's part of my 2-ness, I think, is it's not fair. Other people seem like they have it easier. Well, yeah, they're putting some spackle over their stuff all the time. And I can do that. Nobody's saying I can't. Nobody's making me not. But once you open the Pandora's box and you see what you see, this is for me. When I open it and I know there's a healthier, better, happier, more joyful way, I can't put that lid back on, even though I just don't like doing this stuff sometimes. So that was one. The other quick things when you first asked the question, where it kind of reminds me the way we're doing this, because I'm new to recovery too, in the 12 steps. And it's like research. You can have quantitative research or you can have qualitative research. And I think the old way that you talked about is the quantitative. It's like, get all this data. Qualitative is you look at interviews, and that's what, you look across the broad spectrum and you pick out themes. So I think, to me, it feels like we're picking out defense themes. And once we get, 1 to 5 or whatever themes, then we're going to be able to say, well, for the most part, when things crop up or I remember something, it fits under that. And so I don't need to uncover my whole life right now, because ultimately, once I get the themes, if something comes up, I'm going to say, oh yeah, that's that defense that's happening. So I think I'm going to like that a lot better, even though I've done some of that listing stuff, and it's like, I don't need to keep coming up with more stuff because I'm starting to see those themes. So I think I like this better. And the final thing is, it also reminds me that the universe gives us opportunity until we get it. So there's lots of stories. That's because we haven't gotten the theme yet. We haven't figured it out. So once we get the theme, then hopefully we don't have to have more of those same stories, or at least we notice it sooner. All right. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Tamara. Absolutely. Okay, so Richard and then Vera, and then we're going to go ahead and move on. So go ahead, Richard.
Cher, thank you so much for slowing down the step 4 process, for having us take this time to look at the layers. And, my wife can attest that I've been very attentive to going deep in all of them. But I have to say that the fears and the resentment stuff didn't have the same effect on me that the harm one did, because the fear and resentment stuff was looking inward. And the harm one asked me to look at my type 1ishness in terms of how it bothers other people. And of course, type 1, if 8, 9, and 1 are on the anger spectrum, then 1 is anger internal. But my internal anger has been, oh, that asshole, I'm not going to deal with them anymore, which really hasn't helped. But when I thought about how my type 1ishness, and when I think about how my type 1ishness harms people, it's getting me to say, okay, what part of this do I really, in my reactivity, can I work on so that I'm going to have the experience, but do I have to attack or, whatever? Do I have to harm people in the process of being a type 1? And so I very much appreciate how you've had us work through this process. And it's been really helpful to me.
Good. That makes me happy. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yep. Everything you said. Ditto. Thank you, Richard. All right. And Vera, to you.
Yeah, hi, Cheryl. So this was, yes, to answer your question, I think that this being specific with 1, 2, or 3 defenses, as opposed to having all of them, and I had both experiences, and I think that the point with having, it's completely impossible to actually do step 4, bearing in mind 15 different defects of character, and not feel this huge self-loathing and overwhelm. And I don't find, I'm so sorry I didn't get this straight from my very first step 4, because this is actually, first of all, it's kind, then it's useful, it's effective. It's like I can see myself. And as you know, I mistyped myself. And unfortunately, last week, I realized that I was probably the type that is more inconvenient to me, because I've always judged people that had those traits. And then it turns out that, oh, those are my traits, so those are my projections, which you spotted, you got it, right? And it's coming. One of the things that I realized now that I've spent this week doing the steps again since the beginning in the surrender school, bearing in mind step, the type 7, is something that you said a while ago about the strength of our type. And all my life, all I wanted was for people to let me be free enough to be happy, to be joyous, because I've always felt that I was dominated by other people that wanted life to be very strict and very, and lo and behold, actually, I think that I need to make some adjustments in my life, because that is actually a gift. And if I do perhaps some minor adjustments, then I can actually be that joyous person. So it's turning out to be more inconvenient than actually the death of me, of all of me, And you talked about type 8 and the strength, and looking for strength, and then realizing I am strong, and I am joyous, I'm looking for joy, but I am, and that's like so kind and so helpful. I have no words to describe it, but this has been like, I wish everyone got this once, first time they got into recovery, because doing the steps like this is just, you're moving forward. You're not just waiting to get to the 12th step to actually start feeling some sort of a spiritual awakening, which is kind of a long time to wait for that when you're in pain, right? So anyway, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vera. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen again here. All right. All right, so once again, I mentioned it, the goal of steps 4 and 5 is to uncover our defenses. And once again, I'll talk, I think those of you who are here the last few weeks, I say this, but it's super important. Once I heard the word defenses were other than defects, right? Defenses in the AA, OA, all of that, they talk about the defects. For me, the defect of character means I had to say something in me is broken, something is defective, and it needs to be fixed. Once I went to Friendly Circle Berlin, and they use the word defenses, and I understand in the Enneagram that ego structure defends us, I was able to say, oh, And then I could separate my false self from my true self. And my true self, I could relax into and say, yeah, I don't need that defense anymore. So it makes step 6 and 7 come alive because I can ask my greater power, help me remove this defense. I don't need this anymore, or at least dissipate it enough that I can live my life without having to have it lead all the time, right? And that's really what it's about. So I think everybody gets that 4 and 5 is not this big list of all this shit. It literally is intended to uncover a defense, 1, 2, 3. I mean, not 20 of them, just, and we're going to work on those as we go through to be able to be able to ask our greater power, higher power, God, whatever you call it, to help us remove those or at least dissipate those. Okay. So, and then it allows us to bring steps 6 and 7 to life. 6 and 7 have been, they call them the forgotten steps because most people go, okay, I've done step 5. And by the way, nobody feels like Bill W. talks about. You go home and you put your feet up for an hour and then you feel free. And I don't know anybody who had that experience ever, 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 ever. They don't. They jump right to 8 and then they make their list that they hopefully got from 4 without destroying step 4. And then they make their list and then they go and try to make everything okay. They try to be forgiven. It's like, no. 6 and 7 is where the power is, baby. Okay. And once again, I will continue to say human beings stand in the rubble of former beliefs. We don't even know we are in the rubble. We just know we are not in the sunshine. So we have old beliefs that we don't even know they're beliefs. We think they're the way the world is, and they are old beliefs. Right. And I think, by the way, I talk about right now, I'm kind of suffering. And I think it's because I have some old beliefs that I just need to be gone. And of course, I'm working this along with you. So I'm going to have those. I was hoping I could like rise above it, but it doesn't work that way. So ain't no rising above it. And it's okay. All right. Once again, I had this last week and I'm going to have this each one. Our job is to uncover specific defenses that we will ask to be removed in step 6 and 7. Please do not live in your story, which is the rubble of old beliefs. Columns 1 and 2 should be a quick summary. When you are sharing, when we do step 5 and you are sharing, even today when you're sharing, columns 1 and 2 of each of these is just a quick summary, because what we're really looking for is how did that person or whatever make me feel and how did it make me act? We never owe amends, by the way. This is a spoiler alert. We never owe amends for the way we feel. That's where I'm at right now is I'm realizing I had feelings. I didn't act on them. So yay, Cheryl, didn't act on them, but I had them, right? And it's like, I don't know amends for feelings, but I still need to work them out because there's some reason they're there and stuck. So let's figure that out. But then how did I act as a result of those feelings? And once on all of these, even though they say different things, that's really what we're shooting for. How did it make me feel? How did it make me act? How did it make me feel? Frustrated, fill in the blank, whatever that is. How did it make me act? Reach for food. Dream of food in my case, right? There's actions there that happen. Get in their face is one of mine, right? Go and hide is a 9, right? Everybody got me on this? Okay, so I'm going to probably each time talk about this because this is really what we're looking for. This is how we get the recovery. All right. Now we're going to go into the breakout room. Good. We're about a quarter after. This is going to be a 30-minute breakout room. And what we're focused on is the harms questions. So I need to say that if you have leftover fear stuff that you haven't had a chance, feel free to bring that up here as well, because a lot of people had spring break or whatever, and you didn't get to finish your fear stuff or didn't get to do the fear stuff. If you want to do that, that's fine. And breakout room leaders, you guys decide, do you want to put those fierce things at the end and do all the harms first, or however you want to do that? There'll be 4 to 5 people in each of the rooms. Is that right, Lori? 4 to 5 people.
It's mainly 4. There's one that was only 3.
Perfect. So that means when you go into that room, there should be more than enough time for sharing and about what do we say? 5 minutes? It's been a long time. I've only been gone a week, but it feels like a year. So 5 minutes per person. Is that 5 minutes per person? And yeah, so everybody ready? And Lori's going to go ahead and put you in a breakout room, and I'll see you in about half an hour. Thank you.
Here we go, everyone.
Okay, so we've come back from the breakout. Is everybody back, Lori?
I believe.
Okay. Okay, excellent. All right. So once again, I want to talk a little bit about the kind observer, which is what we're calling, what usually is the sponsor who listens to your step 5. In this organization, we're just calling it the kind observer. And that means they are of a benevolent nature. They observe and report without participating, and then they pay with close attention so that they can see something. That's the definition of observer. So once again, they pay attention, they withhold judgment, they reflect on what was been said, they ask questions that usually clarify feelings. They summarize it, meaning do the math, and then they're going to share. And what they're going to share is very specifically just, we spent half an hour together. During that time, you shared on all these things, and you said words like, for an 8 would be, you said words like anger, rage, irritated, blah, 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 27 times. That might be something you want to look at. That's really what, when it's all said and done, I mean, I know that because I know that, but sometimes we don't, right? People say, you said betrayed 12 times, something along the lines of betrayed, right? That's what we're trying to do, because all we're trying to do is come up with a defense or 2 or 3. That's it, right? And sometimes literally it'll be a surprise because we don't hear ourselves talking. We don't see the same things other people see. And once again, be kind. And it isn't, oh, this is your problem. That's not what we say. We say, this might be something you want to take a look at. And once again, none of us will do this perfectly. We show up as love and we do the best we can. That is it. That's all we can do. We show up as love and we do the best we can. Okay. Michael Naylor says that there's no specific type, no specific advice. This was actually in his email. This is his email back to me. No specific advice on observing. Those who have learned to observe themselves with compassion and non-judgment will be able to pass this on to others. So it doesn't matter what the type is, but rather the awareness level of self-observation. So if you can be kind to yourself, you can be kind to others, which I thought was very cool. And it really doesn't matter what their type is. So I thought that was good too. All right. I want to share real quick. We basically right now, because we're trying to prepare, and Lori is going to be putting everybody into breakout rooms in pairs, right? So that we can do, and we start on the 18th of May, by the way. So that we can do that, she's going to end up building breakout rooms. So we basically have 3 groups. So one is people who have given us, yes, here's the pair. And this is an alphabetical list, so you have no way of knowing who's like matched together because we didn't want, it's nobody's business. So basically this is the people that have said, yes, we're paired. So we have that. All the way to the right then, we have, let Lori know if you're going to do this outside. Some people are just going to do this same thing except with their sponsor, or they might do it with a friend, or they might do it with someone in here, but they're going to do it outside of the actual session. Because this is how we break people into the breakout rooms on the 18th and 25th of May, how we put you in breakout rooms so you can share. And then the final piece that we want to come up with is basically who needs to be paired. And once again, randomly paired, that's what we do is once we have that list of ones who are paired, and we have the list of the people who are doing it on their own outside of the session, then Lori will have to, on the 18th and 25th, and we'll kind of assign that, I think, on the 11th, but she'll assume that you'll need this next week, that basically will pair you up. So Lori, I know there was something you wanted to say and then something you wanted to share. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks everybody. So we're going to be attempting this next week, and I appreciate you guys are all so patient. So, but just letting you know that this is the first time I've attempted to do something like this, but it's totally doable. We just need to see if I can pull it off. Couple things that would be helpful. If you can be as close to on time as possible. Doesn't mean you have to be here right at 12:30, but or 10:30. What time did we start? But within 10 minutes of start time, because I need to have time to build the breakout rooms. The other thing, we're starting next week, we're going to ask that you put your name first and then your type after, because that way I can search alphabetically. I'm going to I am posting some information in the chat, basically regarding what Cher just said, reaffirming all of that and letting you know my contact information. Please reach out to me. And I'm going to send for everybody who's given me their kind observer, I'm going to send you the name of the kind observer I have for you. And please let me know if that's not correct.
So in the chat today, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Today. Okay. And then the 11th, which is Mother's Day. So we're expecting there will be people who aren't here next week. Next week, we're going to answer the harms. We're going to answer the harms list, or do the harms list, which then, or share on the harms list. So this week you do the harms list, and then we share on the harms list. And then during that period of time, we're just going to finalize who's going to be sharing with whom on the 18th and 25th. So the actual shares, the actual step 5 sharing will be done on the 18th and 25th in pairs. So that's the goal of this, because next week we didn't want to start it on the 11th because that's Mother's Day, and that completely makes sense. So, but what we want, what Lori will want, so when she's going to set these up, but we can't set them up in advance. So she will set them up when we're doing the beginning stuff on the 18th and on the 25th. So your job is to either let Lori know that you're going to do it on your own outside, not during the session, or let her know who you want to be in the breakout room with, if you have someone, or just if you're just willing for this to just be random, just throw me in there with somebody, then let her know that as well. We good? Okay. I think we're let's see what I want to do next. So I talked about this. All right, so let me get that out of the way. Yeah, we'll pair remaining people on May 11th, and then obviously who's ever here on the 18th and 25th if you don't have the person here. And somebody asked earlier, if your person's not there, then you end up going into the group of people that will be paired, right? I mean, that just makes sense. Okay. So if you choose, I'm going to give you a few minutes right now if you want to chat with somebody. Let's go ahead. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer and wrap up that so Lori can stop recording and so forth. And then I'll give you like 5 minutes to chat with somebody, see if you want to find somebody, and then we'll move on. But I'll do that here in a minute. And then once again, if you reach out to somebody that it's like you've really connected with them, they didn't reach out to you, reach out to them if you're willing to be their kind observer. Just ask them, would you like me to be your kind observer? It's really good practice to listening actively. And also it'll make you a better sponsor on the outside when you're a sponsor. Okay, we will meet on the 18th and 25th. In the session is when we're actually going to do this. Cindy, thank you for that suggestion, and I like the idea of it because Lori's willing to do the breakout rooms. It's the only way we can do this. So we'll meet on May 18th and 25th in the session, up to 30 minutes per person to share a bit of your step 5 info so the kind observer can watch for defenses. That's really all you're trying to do, is listen to those, what did I feel, all of that. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing right now. I'm going to do the Serenity Prayer, and then Lori will stop recording, and then we'll just continue for the next half an hour. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Okay, so let's see.
Thanks for recovering with us.